Here's the curriculum I wish I had in school. So I'm technically 3 weeks into the curriculum that I built for myself, and I'm just now documenting. Let me explain. Greetings, good day, and welcome. I'm Deanna. On this channel, we talk about all things project management, nonprofit management, grants, and development. A few weeks ago, I decided to hop on this TikTok trend where people are building their own personal curriculums. Basically, it's like people are creating their own college courses for topics that they're curious about. I posted mine, and a lot of people really connected with it. People were saying that they were excited to follow my journey, and honestly, truly, that's the kind of accountability that I need, because let's be real, this is week 3 and I haven't done let me not say that. I did a little bit, but I could be doing a lot more. But that's actually perfect because this is the real journey, right? It's not about being perfect and making sure everything is checked off. And I mean, I am my own teacher, so I won't be failing myself during this course. But it's just about me trying to stick to this curriculum even when life happens. But when life does happen, I'm gentle with myself and I'm doing the best with what I got.
I'll do the best I can with what I got.
So, welcome to my very honest documentation of me learning more about Black politics and constitutional law. First and foremost, let me break down what I'm actually doing. I created a 3-month curriculum called Black Politics and Constitutional Law, a personal study guide. Sounds official, right? Mad official. Like something that you would actually take in college. That's the vibe I'm going for. Now, here's how it breaks down. October, aka where I'm supposed to be right now, is constitutional reality versus ideals. For this, I'll be reading 2 books. The first is The New Jim Crow by Michelle Alexander and We the People by Erwin Chemerinsky. And I still need to buy his book, by the way. You know, I'm playing catch up.
Please don't judge me.
November is historical context and caste systems. With that, I'll be reading Stamped from the Beginning, The Definitive History of Racist Ideas in America by Ibram X. Kendi, and Caste, The Origins of Our Discontents by Isabel Wilkerson. And lastly, December wraps up with Memory, Migration, and Contemporary Voices. I'll be reading The 1619 Project by Nicole Hannah-Jones, How the Word is Passed by Clint Smith, and Between the World and Me by Ta-Nehisi Coates. Each month has weekly themes, a daily reading schedule, personal reflection questions, weekly reflection papers, and a final paper to wrap up the month. Like, I really created a whole syllabus for myself. I am taking this super seriously, okay?
Okay.
And this structure is there for accountability because that is what I've been struggling with. Now, of all topics, why did I decide to do Black politics and constitutional law? Just like I said in my TikTok video, I am a grants and nonprofit project manager who thought she was going to be a lawyer. I got my degree in political science and criminal justice from Temple, and when I graduated, I started studying for my LSATs. I was participating in various law-focused programs, and I was able to shadow and work with other lawyers and just see what their daily lives were and just what kind of law they were doing, what kind of practices that they were involved in, etc., etc. Basically, I was seeing what life would be like if I became a lawyer. But as I started to just see what life could potentially be, I started to slowly realize that maybe law wasn't right for me. And though the trajectory of my career is completely different than what I had anticipated for the majority of my life, even in high school, I specifically remember my assistant principal telling me that I was going to be a congresswoman or involved in politics somehow, some way. It wasn't for me anymore. And for a little bit, that was scary until grant writing found me. And here I am all these years later and very, very happy with the career that I currently have. But that love for law never went away. I've always been intrigued by politics, current events. difficult, to say the least, to keep up with the current times that we are in and the current political climate that we are facing. But I think it's even more vital now than ever to be up to date on our history and our politics. We are literally watching history being erased, transformed, rewritten, and I want to be very intentional about building a library that adequately illustrates Black history, specifically in regards to law and politics. So with this curriculum, I feel like this is me taking control of my people's history and taking control of my own education, because though I was a political science major and criminal justice minor, there was a lot of gaps in my learning. Like, I cannot even recall of having many classes that were even dedicated to Black history or Black politics or Black law. And yeah, I'm trying to fill the gap. And lastly, when I posted this on TikTok, I did not think I would get the level of engagement that I did, and that there were others out there who also thought that they were going to go to law school, who are also working to build their libraries and to make sure that they are able to recap history. You know what I mean? So I decided to not just sit and create videos so people can see my journey, but also this makes me accountable to make sure that I am following through with my curriculum, because we can learn together. It's just something about knowing that people are watching you that makes you want to do better. You feel me? Okay, that's cute and all, but where am I actually in my curriculum? I'm like, if it's anything I'm gonna do with y'all, I'm gonna keep it 100. And I've read only the introduction and a little bit of chapter 1 of the new Jim Crow. But let me just say, this should be required reading. I don't get how I was a political science major and criminal justice minor, and I was studying systems and legislation, policies, and such, and this was not required reading. I've seen it on the bookshelves because, funny enough, I worked at the bookstore on Temple's campus, and I remember stocking this book. I remember stocking this book, but none of my teachers required it. None of my classes thought, hey, maybe we should read this. This has been eye-opening thus far, and like I said, I'm only that much in. I can only imagine what I'm about to experience when I get deeper into this book. And I think the most fascinating thing that I discovered early on in the book is that back in the day, like over 50 years ago, there was a point in time where they believed that prisons would be a thing of the past. Let me read y'all a snippet real quick. The growing consensus among experts was perhaps best reflected by the National Advisory Commission on Criminal Justice Standards and Goals, which issued a recommendation in 1973 that no new institution for adults should be built and existing institutions for juveniles should be closed. This recommendation was based on their finding that the prison, the reformatory, and the jail have achieved only a shocking record of failure. There is overwhelming evidence that these institutions create crime rather than prevent it. Like, how on brand for this country to literally be like shown like, hey, this is not working, maybe y'all should try something different, and we're just sitting here like, nah, we're just gonna keep doing this because, like, you know, fueling the economy, and you know, we're secretly trying to keep people underneath and such, and the system is rigged, but it's fine.
I'm okay with the events that are unfolding currently.
I already know I'm gonna have an attitude by the end of this book. Oh my God. Instead of closing prisons, we've been opening more of them. It literally said that institutions for juveniles should be closed. Dumb tight. Now, I've been highlighting, writing thoughts on post-its, asking questions in the margins, but I did not have a concrete study routine, even though I had my reading schedule in order. And that is what's been killing me. And for real, I'm behind because work, adulting, responsibilities, all that stuff. And because I am my own teacher and I'm not going to fail myself, I put this on the back burner. Maybe I should consider failing myself, because if I was really in school, I would have an F right now. Maybe I need to add that level of seriousness to this. There's nobody hassling me and emailing me saying that I'm going to not pass the class. There's nobody asking me where my assignments are. There's no real grade, so it's real easy to neglect this. But I want to teach myself. I want to learn. This is a topic that's very important to me. So I gotta get it together or forget it forever. But that's exactly why I've decided to start documenting my journey now. I need the accountability. I need to show up for myself in the same way that I would show up if I was dealing with an actual professor. So I'm gonna take this as this is me submitting my assignment to you guys. So like, press me if y'all don't see a video, okay?
Okay.
So my plan going forward, first and foremost, I built out a study tracker. This should be no surprise that I am using my Kindle Scribe to keep track of my studying goals. This was not a template that my Kindle Scribe originally had, so I just had to build a template in Google Docs, download it as a PDF, send it to my Kindle email, and boom, she popped up right here. And now, as you guys can see, I can check off when I hit my reading, studying, question, and reflection goals. Now that I have a study tracker, I can more efficiently highlight in the book, take notes, still utilize Post-its, but also I'm going to have a separate notebook that I could write longer form thoughts and questions in. I also discovered that I need to get my ass out the house. On the days that I decide to stay home and study, I'll leave my daily studying goals and reading for end of day after I've handled work and all of my responsibilities. On the days that I am staying home, waiting to end of day is when I am capable to really lock in and focus and not worry about everything else. Now, like I said, I need to get my out the house. So I will be taking my books and studying materials to co-working spaces. Now, being a New Yorker and working remotely, I have the freedom to travel when I want to. And what I'm not going to do is get on the train with everybody else and their mama. So when I decide to go to a co-working space, I'll probably leave the house around 10:30 a.m. Like I said, I'm trying to avoid the crowd as much as I possibly can. Like, I knew I grew up here, but like, it's dead too many people right now. I can't breathe on the trains, and I don't got the time for that. Don't got the time.
Police! Help!
And with me traveling around, I'm going to be taking the time to discover new co-working spaces throughout New York City. That's going to be a whole separate thing, so stay tuned for that. And of course, after I finally catch up, I'll make sure to come back and share what I've learned with you guys. If I really get it on and poppin', by Sunday, I will have read all 5 chapters, which is 220 pages in total from the new Jim Crow. I've answered all 8 of my reflection questions. I completed my week 1 and week 2 reflection paper. All of my notes will be organized, color coded, all the things that make my type A personality very happy. And then I will be ready to move forward into week 3. Whew, this is... Damn. Let me not psych myself out. I'm gonna get this done. If you are thinking about creating your own curriculum, whether it's about politics, law, cooking, seahorses, photography, literally anything, this is your sign to do it. I am first and foremost thrilled at the books that I've been collecting that's going to make sure that my history continues to be illustrated adequately and efficiently. And the wannabe lawyer in me is continuing to eat this up. And I think the thing that I mainly love is seeing the various topics and areas of studies and industries that people are deciding to dive deeper into. I think this year is really teaching us that if there's any time for us to be creative, to think out the box, to learn something new, to take that chance or risk on diving into something you never thought that you could, should, or would dive into, the time is now. Oop, would you look at that? You made it to the end of this video, so thanks for watching.
Sometimes goodbyes are a bitch.
T-shirt idea. Goodbye stink.
If you would like to follow along with me and see the things that I learned and discovered during my curriculum journey, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I would love to have you follow along with me, to learn with me, to discover with me, to see all the things that are going to surprise, shock, anger, and educate me. If any of these books are familiar to you guys, if anybody has read any of them, I would love to hear your thoughts about these books. Are there certain things that I should be paying attention to while reading? Are there any points that really stood out to you and you're like, Deanna girl, when you get to that part, whatever it is, make sure to drop all of that in the comments below. Also, I would love to hear from anybody who is doing their own curriculum. Like I said, I am so intrigued by the topics that people are selecting, so let me know what you're learning about. As I always say, a lot of my videos are inspired by you guys, so if anybody has any questions or topics that you would like me to dive deeper into, make sure to drop all of that in the comments below as well. I'm going to go start playing catch up. If you haven't done so already, please make sure to like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, bye y'all.